تناقضات. Who's Hassan Semrani? I'm not going to debate him. And then he comes to the car. Well, and then he wants to debate every kid, and he wants to debate this brother. You know, he said on the video, he said, "Where's my hijab? I would debate him." And then what did he say? You know what he said to him? You know what he then said to him? See, I don't debate. I came only once in the past.
Okay, address the point when they said they are brothers not in Iman, in humanity. So they say we don't do takfir, but
they regard us as kuffar.
Yeah.
We are kuffar to them, you understand? Sorry, excuse me, you can't.
Who's this? You're the poor soul. Let me tell you, I will comment on this poor soul. You are such a poor, gullible soul, and I'll tell you why.
Say pussy hole.
No, you're gullible soul.
Oh, poor soul. I was like, what?
No, but I tell you, I don't mean it insulting because I watched your whole video. You speak very positively.
Yes.
But you know, me, as someone, as a minority from a country where you have no clue about our history, especially since my country is always portrayed as Persian country. We have a lot of ethnicities. Massacre has been committed 500 years ago. 1 million Iranian Sunnis have been massacred on spears.
From Iran?
Yes, I'm a Sunni from Iran. And then how you praise these devils who are from the most radical firebrand Shia cleric Yasser al-Habib associates. You have praised Yasser al-Habib associates, who play the victim role like Zionists, but their beliefs are the most vile and extremist beliefs, only because they have like sharp beards, as you put it. Don't fall for these sharp, I don't know what you call sharp beards anyway, the guy with the ponytail.
He knows very well. Obviously he likes the fact that, you know, there's another group coming to challenge us. That's what, obviously, you know, he's
so you're saying, so what's wrong with the Shia beliefs? That's really good. That's what I want to get into.
Is that a sincere question or is it just...
Sincere question.
Okay,
sincere question. We need to
we will come to that later. We first need to talk about...
to debate the Shia.
Wait. Before the debate, let's see what he's got to say.
Are you a Shia Miskin?
Would you say Shia Muslim?
No, Miskin.
Miskin? No, that might be you. I am a proper Muslim that follows the Islam of the Quran. And I invite you to a proper debate, not where people can interrupt, in a hall or something like that.
Why are you covering your face, brother?
Because I don't like camera. I think for me personally, it's a test.
So why are you going to debate in a hallway? Are you going to debate with that in your face?
This is why I don't want to debate here.
I'm not debating with Zorro. You put it off and then...
It's about information, is it not?
No, but are you going to debate with that on your face if you debate in a hallway?
Over aggression.
This is not
aggression over intellect. Why?
Listen, you have no clue about Sunnah al-Jama'ah.
Listen, I used to be
you became Shia.
I used to be
Shia. You used to be Shia. You used to be Shia.
I used to be Sunni.
Sorry, you used to be Sunni.
And then Wahhabi.
You used to be Sunni. Yeah, and then Moon Man, and then whatever. It's all right.
So you don't want to debate?
Huh?
You want debate, you know?
Listen, I do my business here now.
Okay.
And then later I can decide whatever I do.
Okay. Well, the challenge is there. Okay?
Yeah, Mr. Nobody. Let's see.
Mr. Nobody.
Okay, listen. Inshallah, we'll have a discussion here.
Okay. All right.
Can I do my stuff?
Please do.
We need to know what you're going to do, man. We're not listening to what you say. Talk, man.
Yeah, we should mention this on the side. Who's from Al-Bidah?
The Shias, because some brothers claim that obviously...
Akhi, listen, why make it difficult? Let's say they are not mushrikeen zanadiqa. Yeah? Let's say they're not. They're at the very least Al-Bidah. So they're Al-Bidah, okay. Akhi, first we go through what they said, then we go to this Hassan Qadri. The guy that wanted to teach all of you a lesson.
You want to just ask me... You want to ask me questions and I'll ask you.
No, we talked together, bro. What happened last week? So, say salam, go and talk what happened last week. We are here now, say the date. No 30 plus men so far.
What, you want to start?
You introduce.
So, everyone knows what happened last week when a group of 30 Shias came down to the park. Obviously myself, I wasn't here, I had other things. Brother Hassan wasn't here neither. They came down here and challenged Ahl Sunnah, the Sunnis, for debate. A few brothers who were here who don't debate Ahl Bidah, which I think, to be honest, to call these people Ahl Bidah is an insult to the innovators, to be honest with you. We can't call people who believe that our mother is X, Y, and Z. What, the thing? No, sorry. Listen, are you going to put it on your channel?
Is there a problem with that?
Well, I don't know. Are you okay with that?
You can put good.
Yeah? Oh, no problem, no problem.
But which is our camera? Which one is our camera?
That's that one.
I was here last week.
You gotta give me.
Inshallah, you know, it's CovFF. The one when Shamsi tried to get.
Huh?
When Shamsi had a bit of an issue with them last week with the Raza.
Yeah,
I was here then.
Yeah.
All right, let's come.
So the fact that these Shias are becoming very brave and they're coming down here, why? Because obviously they've seen the impact that some brothers here at the park has had on the lay Shias who are watching the videos, because Speaker's Corner right now has become a global thing. So people all over the world watching the videos and they're being affected, and they see that some brothers here, mashallah tabarakallah, they have, you know, they articulate you know, I believe Ahl Sunnah very well, and this has put a lot of fear into, I would say, the learned Shias, because they don't like to see that their youngsters and they lay amongst them are having doubts. They're coming to them and saying, you know, this guy said this guy said that, you know, is it true that we believe in this, we believe in that? So now they have to save face and they have to come down here and try to make themselves look as if they are on the offensive. So what happened last week? They came down here, they went up to a certain brother, and this brother, he didn't want to debate them, saying that we don't debate Ahl Bidah.
No, we get to these points.
Anyway, okay.
Let's do a short intro. We get to each of them.
Okay, so
yeah,
so you continue with yours.
Okay, Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi, la siyama Abu Bakr wa Umar wa Uthman wa Ali. Wa min tabahum bi ihsanin illa yawm ad-din. Amin. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brothers and sisters, some of you might know me, Ibn Hussein Hassan Semrani from the 12 shia.net team, the 12 shia.net team. As brother Abu Ismail Abdul Hamid said last week, 30 plus of them came to the park. If I could show you on their social media what brothers sent me, what comments they put. When the Rafidah come, when the lions come, everybody is scared. Roar. It's just ridiculous. 30 plus people unannounced coming to the park, and then people who are regulars here. You come every week, isn't it? For me, it's 10 years I live here. It's the third time I'm here, and I speak about it. The reason why I'm normally not coming often here, but you are normally every week here. So that was Qadarullah that he wasn't there last week. So 30 plus of them came from this Bayat-e-Ghadir team. It's a team new, they have like few hundred followers on YouTube, I don't know, like kids, and they came the last few months to the park, debated, and the brother asked me in the last few months, say, Hassan, come and debate him. I said, you debate a little kid, debate somebody who he doesn't know the difference between, I can't say Dur al-Manthur, one of the most famous tafsir books of Ahl Sunnah, Dur al-Manthur. You should debate people like this. He said, so I left it. I said, forget about it. But then when this happened, he said to me, look, they came, and then this Hassan Qadri came. We want to talk about him from this Rafidah Org, former member or whatever, associate of these people, from Yasir al-Habib's people. Firebrand, extremist cleric. So when they came, I put some note, so we talk about this. So when they came here with 30 plus and challenged, they made later on comments and videos. These are some stuff I've noted from their channel on social media, whatever, about me, because I challenged them, Hassan Semrani, to debate with any of them. I challenged any of them to debate. They know me very well. One of them said, why do you talk about yourself and tell what you have done so far? You shouldn't praise yourself. It's correct, it's a principle in Islam. It's a Quranic principle. We don't praise ourselves what we have. However, we have a principle, if there's a necessity to put your credential forward, you have to do that. So I mentioned to them, no excuse, you know me exactly. Don't tell me he hasn't caused harm to Rafidism, to Shiism. And they know me, they know I'm part of 12shia.net, one of the largest, most active, the most active Sunni website in the world, refuting every single Shia doubt. I'll give you one example, revisiting the Salaf. Used to be org, they didn't pay their, I think, bills. And we bought up the domain, then they changed it, I think, to come. Anyway, on a serious note, every single article almost, I think for every relevant article, our website refutes it. Everything you can imagine today what bloggers ask me. Shia say Umar did this, kada. What about Umar slept Fatima? These khurafat. You know, they make themselves busy instead of worshipping Allah. So they know I'm part of this. They know I had 4 years a live show on a Persian TV channel that is called now Tawheed TV, formerly called Wisal Farsi TV. It's a shu'ba, it's a branch of the famous Wisal. But it was changed and we were independent from then. Ours was Wisal Farsi. 4 years I had a live show in Farsi language. 4 years. Every day, 2 hours on Hotspot satellite channel in Farsi language, making da'wah, refuting Shiism, debating Zoroastrians, Christians, Iranian nationalists, Iranian Shias, plenty, hundreds, alhamdulillah, in my show alone, people who have become Ahl Sunnah. We uploaded it on YouTube. I still do the play out for our channel, alhamdulillah. That's still my job. I did this stuff, we put it on satellite and it goes around the world. So they know what I do, and I don't mention these stuff, these things, praise myself. It's just to take the rug under their feet, so they can't say, this guy's, who is he? He's nobody. And what did he say? Hasn't caused no damage or has no effect on the aqidah of Shias. So this is nonsense, it's just an excuse. The next thing they mentioned was Anjem Chowdhury. Anjem Chowdhury, I'm going to be blunt and I don't care what anybody thinks. Hassan Semrani, I believe because I believe. I'm convinced of what I believe. I left 2003 winter Shiism, not because I woke up one day and said, oh, you know what? Enough, you know, I think it's wrong. Let's now become Sunni. It was a fight for 6 months, research, reading. I don't want to get into the story with the ex-Shia Sheikh, may Allah bless him, from a Tehrani ex-Shia Sheikh, who I tried to refute him. 6 months, and no, I'm going to bring you back to Shia. He said to me, okay, sabr. 6 months it took me until I left this religion that is full of khurafat, dalalat, shirkiyat, zandaqa. That's what, only one
superstition,
thing. Superstition.
Disbelief.
Dalalat, misguidance. In the name of Ahlul Bayt, that's it. That's the only bait they have. See, somebody was fishing as a bait. The only bait they have, Ahlul Bayt, Mazlumiyya, the oppression of Ahlul Bayt. Imam Hussein, Wawayla, Ya Hussein, flags crying. Imam Hussein, you don't love the cousin, you don't love the grandson of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. You know, you don't love him? We march here through here, we chest beating, 30 days chest beating, 40 days. If you don't do it, you're enemy of Ahlul Bayt. That's the only thing they have. Very similar to those
Christians.
Very similar to those pagans there. You see the pagans over there? What have they done with Jesus? They insult Jesus directly? Yes or no? No. They don't insult Jesus directly, alayhi salam. Anybody who says as a jahil, Christians don't insult Jesus directly. They say we love him, and most of them generally love him. But their ghulu, their extremism, in essence is an insult to Jesus. I give just one quick example. There's a principle. We have it and our scholars use it as well. If you exaggerate with anything other than Allah, by default you are in essence insulting that entity, thing, or especially let's say person. How is it about Jesus alayhi salam? If you say Jesus is great, good, agree. Great prophet, agreed, alayhi salam. Son of God, God. And then you find out, or your mukhalif opponent, Jesus used to wear nappies. Jesus used to ride a donkey. Jesus used to sleep, fart, wee, excuse me, these are all things humans do. And the most hilarious thing, or sad thing, Jesus was killed, according to the narrative, by a bunch of Roman soldiers that were, Romans, so they used to wear little shorts. So a bunch of half-naked Roman soldiers killed God. Do you understand how insulting it is to make that thing then God? Same goes for Ahlul Bayt. All this ghulu they make with Ahlul Bayt know the unseen. And they lie when they say, no, they don't know fully the unseen. Bi-idhnillah. One day we will make durus about this, about all their excuses. When we say ilmul ghaib, as Sunnis we believe, brother, you have ilmul ghaib. Very mahdud. Like you know the knowledge about ahadith, about Akhir Zaman. That's in a way ilmul ghaib. But we don't call you alimul ghaib. We don't say he has the ghaib. So yeah, in that sense, everybody is clean. So our Prophet ﷺ knew portions. If I tell you, Wallahi al-Azim, if we go just through the chapters, and I'm not even saying we go into the hadith itself, just the chapters of Al-Kafi, just the chapters. I had a show, I will never forget, in 2015 in my live show. I had one show. What did I decide to do? I said, you know what? I said to the viewers, we don't even need to go into the hadith. You know, Kulaini, like every other muhaddis, he put the bab, the chapters, the beliefs, and then he put a hadith in it. So there might be here and there weak according to some shia, but the belief itself, the chapter, is the main belief. For example, chapter about the Imam knows when he dies. The Imam knows every leaf that falls on the floor. Yani descriptions of ghaib that are for Allah only. So this is with regards to ghulu. This is with regards to ghulu, and we can talk about it in the future, inshallah. Now back to Chowdhury. The first excuse they brought was Anjem Chowdhury. In 2013, and I already clarified this with Muhammad Hijab on his channel. Alhamdulillah, it has plenty of views, many saw it. But one more time, just quickly. They said, we're not going to debate with you. You're an associate of Anjem Chowdhury. A'udhu billah. A'udhu billah of being the neighbor of Anjem Chowdhury, let alone being his associate. I don't want to live in the same borough as Anjem Chowdhury. And I'm not saying this to please these guys or anybody or non-disbelievers. No, I say this because that's why I told quickly my story. Out of conviction, I left Shiism and I entered Islam, inshallah, tamah, completely. And out of conviction, I am not an associate of Anjem Chowdhury. What is the background story? Demonstration 2013 in front of Iranian embassy. Look at the irony. Over 15 Iranian Sunni preachers were about to get hanged for, you know, the typical easy made-up accusations of the Iranian regime. Wahhabi, distributing this. It's very easy for them to execute us. Anybody who is active. No, in Iran they don't kill every Sunni. We have, alhamdulillah, many Sunnis in Iran. 20 million according to unofficial sources. You're not getting killed on the spot. But if you are active da'wah, a threat, they'll kill you. So we went there to demonstrate, me and my sheikh only, to demonstrate in front of the embassy. What happened? Chowdhury in his lot, from left, right, and center. I didn't even greet him. Took the mic, said what I said, left. Before I left, I said on the mic, because suddenly these people are around me, I said, we are with no group here. It's me and my friend, not him, my sheikh was there. Khalas. So I explained this to these people. I said, this was already clarified. And if you fear Allah, I said to them, if you fear Allah, you do not bring up these things. Allah is just. You might hate me, you might hate my beliefs, but you do believe in God, don't you? If you believe in God, you believe in God's justice. Neither against a Zionist, neither against me, against nobody you should use a pathetic lie. And rest assured, and there are some, definitely not. Anjem Chowdhury friends and associates are not ashamed of being his associates. They're proud and they will say they are. I don't even know this man. I don't even know him, he doesn't know me. So khalas, that was the first excuse. I clarified it to them in the message and they knew that I'm saying the truth. They saw the video obviously before hijab, so they went to the next thing. What did they say? They mentioned my ethnic background. They said, oh, because you are Persian. You're from Iran. You always mention you're Iran. That's the only credential you have. When did I ever anywhere said, you have to debate me or take me serious because, you know, I'm from Iran, that's enough. Did I ever say something like this? In fact, in my interview with Muhammad Hijab last summer, what did I say to Muhammad Hijab? I remember I said something on the line, in it by itself, being an ex-Sunni, ex-Christian, even being an ex-Christian, I take the side of a Christian friend. Doesn't mean just somebody claims he's an ex-Christian, he's not Muslim, that's the hujjah alone. That's the absolute evidence alone. It's not. It is not. It is the haq is haq. Even if, and Ibn Umar said it, and we have this aqwal of our salaf and the Sahaba, even if a million people go on batil, haq stays haq, even if one person follows it. So no, my ethnic background is still important at all. The reason I mentioned my ethnic background because it was interesting to the interview. It is interesting generally to people, and it is an actual phenomenon. I write and contribute on the website sonsofsunnah.com, one of the first Sunni blogs in the world in English since 2006. I wrote an article for this website, the phenomenon of Sunnism amongst Iranian Arabs, Shias, Ahwazis, amongst Persians in Isfahan, Tehran, Shiraz, Qom even, and Mashhad. There is now articles written about it. This is not rare. There's one article even in Washington by a former Shia scholar. He called it Persian Salafism. The article is famous on the net. It's by a former Shia scholar. So I never made this a big deal. This is not a dalil. My ethnic background is not an evidence for them to take me seriously. Because of other reasons, and they know the reasons. That's why they don't come. And we'll speak about the other things. So ask quickly.
I was going to ask you about this. They came down here, they challenged my hijab, they challenged a few other brothers, yeah? So, you made a video,
yes.
You challenged them. You said, listen, if you want to come down here, 30 people, and you want to challenge people, I will debate you, you said, by myself. I will debate all of you, you said, yeah? You already debate all of them, basically. So why do you think they are turning you, because I myself spoke to them. And I was going to make that clear. I spoke to Hassan Qadri, the big one, with the glasses. And he didn't want to debate neither. So why do you think they don't want to debate?
Brother, remember a few months ago, you told me that through, you asked the cameraman of this Rafida.org, associates of this firebrand extremist cleric, Yasir Habib. You asked him, what about Shubairi? None of them got back. And you told me that he won't debate you. Shubairi is the one who, and I mentioned this in my video, by the way. The video I made, was it the video I made yesterday? The day before yesterday I made it. The day before yesterday I made the video and challenged them. There I mentioned that on the day where Muhammad Hijab, do you guys know who Muhammad Hijab debated last summer? MashaAllah, may Allah bless him with his polo shirt. Easy, he came with the polo shirt. The Shia man came with a robe and with 10 books. Robe and 10 books. Muhammad Hijab, this is not his field at all. The shubuhat and these doubts, recycled doubts that Shias learn is their whole religion. They busy themselves the whole day with this. Muhammad Hijab called me in the morning while I was eating breakfast and I prepared him. I'm not saying this to show off. I'm saying this, that Muhammad Hijab called me, he said, Akhi, what about this? I said, and mashallah, and you know who Muhammad Hijab debated? You have to understand the thaqafa, the culture of them. You don't get that black tie, turban. You don't get that black turban just like that. Another with a bigger black turban must give. He's a talibul ilm in the madhab. The miskin, well, we're going to make videos against him as well. This miskin is Sayyid Hosseini Shubairi. Well, what did he say? There's a video of him where they ask him, imagine they're tullab. These are their tullab, the students. There's a video of him, this guy who debated Shubairi, where somebody asked him a simple question in Arabic. He said, هل ممكن أتكلم بالإنجليزية? Miskin. So this rope man with the turban, who's the talib al-ilm, knows no Arabic at all, very broken Arabic. I'm not saying again, I'm not an expert. I'm not mocking people for their language, for their mistakes. I do mistakes, as I said, in Arabic, in Quran, and everybody, even the biggest Qari makes it. These people talking about the best of best after the Anbiya, Ashab al-Rasul. These people who don't know the difference between fi'l madi and mudari. These people coming and talking like this about the deen of Allah, as if this is a game. These people don't deserve to be mocked. These people deserve to be refuted with evidences. People who know their religion. I don't prefer people who are Zorro-like, but if nobody comes to say Zorro, we even debate Zorro. So, when I made the video 2 days ago, yeah, but what else is this when you hide yourself here? What is this? When 2 days ago when I made the video, when I recorded the video, So this Muhammad, what was it? Ah, yeah. So this Shubairi guy said no. That was the one I prepared. Oh, Muhammad Hijab, may Allah bless him. He has knowledge. He's a knowledgeable brother. May Allah bless him and increase his knowledge. Even what Shiism, he has knowledge. When I say I prepared him, he knows that's my field. So I gave him some extra cookies. And he used it well. He used it well. So imagine if someone from us, who is Muhammad Hijab prepared himself like in a morning and a few days before, maybe privately for himself, debated one of the Tullab al-Ilm. I don't care if they say, well, he's not our strongest. He's a Talib al-Ilm according to you. Mu'ammam, Sayyidna. So this is it. So this guy, Muhammad Hijab debated, as far as we know, he doesn't want to. If he comes now, ahlan wa sahlan. Khushu Mahdi, come. We will debate you. Then there was the Sayyid Hamid, the other one, the Iraqi.
The second debate.
The second debate was here with Sayyid Hamid, the Iraqi guy. One time, this one I'm witness. I have a friend, Alhamdulillah, the ex-Shia community. I don't care, there might be ex-Christian community, ex-Muslim community. I'm in my own world, Alhamdulillah. The ex-Shia community is growing. In my circle, where shall I start? Ex-Shia, Bu Ammar, where should we start? In our group alone. So a friend of mine, Iraqi ex-Shia, asked this Hamid, this Sayyid Hamid, do you want to debate? Okay, I'm in Iraq. 1 month to debate. Do you want to debate now? No, I don't want to. Why? Hassan Semrani didn't do well against, I don't know, I never had a debate so far in public in English, and a pre-debate with Allah Yari, maybe talk. Anyway, I said no, I don't want to, I'm not interested. Okay, proclaim victory. Did we proclaim victory? We don't know how to do these challenges. Don't proclaim victory. Just say he didn't want to. It's alright. Now to candidate number 3. Now it gets interesting. So when they came last week, 2 of these guys, and you guys don't know, I will tell you guys, and the viewers might don't know, 2 of them, from those 30 plus very brave lines of Rafida, 2 of them are their chief priests, if you like. Yeah, you will call them chief priests, or like the leaders, the strong Tulab al-Ilm. One is the Sayyid Ali, the one with the glasses. One is the Sayyid Ali, that was at the Muhammad Hijab first debate as well in Slough. And one is this Hassan al-Qadri, who used to be with this, I don't know if he still is, was, but anyway, associate with this Rafida org people, Yasir Khabith, Yasir Habib, these people. They're extremists to us. We are extremists to them, they're extremists to us. And if they use stuff against me from news, well, I've never been in newspapers, but if they use stuff against me from newspapers, Yasir Habib was many times in the newspaper declared as a firebrand extremist cleric, and they're his associates. If we were pathetic, we would use these things in pictures, say, oh, look, they stood with Yasir Habib. There's plenty of pictures of them. Anyway, so 2 of them, the Sayyid Ali and Hassan Qadri. Some are witness here. When the Hassan Qadri, the bigger one, came, what did he do? What did he do and what did he say? What did he do? What did he say?
He said we came
what
here.
Are you witness? You know what we want? He's witness. Very short, brother. No. What did he say? Who did he want to debate? Because we want to be fair. He said he has some shurut. Someone of shakhsiyah, someone of ilm. What else he wants? Shuhra, I don't know how many super, you know, if you put like condition, I don't want to. Just say you don't want to. What did he tell you, brother?
He wanted to debate Zakaria.
Who is Sheikh Zakaria? He must be Zakaria must be a very famous, of very high character persona, because he said he wants more shakhsiyah. Is he that, Akhi?
No, definitely not in this field. Definitely not in this field.
Alright. Anyway, I watched the video from the last and from the beginning to the last. I don't know if you asked him or someone, but somebody said on the comments, then why did you want to debate? He said, yeah, only on that day. And then he said, I think in the video, somebody mentioned he himself, yeah, where's Muhammad Hijab? I would debate him, but he's not here. So the point is, he was here last week, and he was ready to debate Muhammad Hijab, and even Sheikh Zakaria, whoever it is. So if he was ready to debate Sheikh Zakaria and Muhammad Hijab, One day, storming the park with 30 people. Oh, nobody here? All right, I have to fly back to Iraq or wherever. I'm never going to come back now. I'm going to come back in a few months or whatever. And then when I put myself forward, I say, oh, hello, salam alaikum. I was just asleep. I work 7 times a week. I teach Sundays, alhamdulillah, Arabic and Tajweed. I couldn't come. I just came now. So I said, well, even today, it's difficult to come. I said, all right, okay, I'm going to come. You're going to debate me? No. You're nobody. But Sheikh Zakaria is Imam Zaman or what is he? No, you're rude. In my video, I made one comment. I poke a little bit. You can't be so sensitive like a diva. I poke a little bit because when he walked to the park, he shouted, he said to the Shamsi, his brother Shamsi and his people, he said, Wallahi, Haq Ali bin Abi Talib. Haq Ali bin Abi Talib will always prevail. We'll never forget Haq Ali bin Abi Talib. And then another bit of the video, is it the truth? And another bit he shouted, Wallahi, we came here to teach him a lesson. He came to teach you a lesson. No, generally all of you. So I poked in my video, in my few-minute video, I said, Haq Ali bin Abi Talib, Wallah Ali bin Abi Talib, bari'un minkum, wa min shirkikum, wa min khurafatikum, wa min dinikum. So I believe Ali bin Abi Talib is very innocent of you and your religion, and this khurafat and shirkiyat that you attribute to him in Al-Bayt alayhi salam. Does that mean that we hate Shias? Brother, my family, vast majority is Shia. I have the best relationship with my father and mother. They're Shia. Alhamdulillah, my brothers, they all became Sunni. But most family, they're still Shia. My country is a majority Shia. I have Shia neighbors. I believe we can live peacefully. In fact, I believe most Shias, because they don't know the reality of Shiism and don't practice it that hard, I think they're nice people. They are nice people. But those who practice these khurafat and these dalalat, who provoke people, calling the Prophet's wife sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this very guy that you talk to, brother, has videos on his channel or on YouTube channels where he's responding in a very... We watched his videos. He's a jahil. He's a jahil. He made a video series refuting Dawah Man. And there, Dawah Man talked, for example, about the killers of Uthman. So this Hassan Qadri in his series, he then refutes Dawah Man. He brings riwayat from Kanz al-Umal, al-Hindi al-Muttaqi, a book where the ulama say, this book is the beloved book of the Rafida, because it's full of mawdu'at. They love it. So this miskeen brings mawdu'at in his lecture, and then in this lecture he has a book where it's written on it. It's a book by Yasir Habib. This Khabith. Al-Fahisha, Al-Wajh Al-Akhar, Li-Aisha. Al-Fahisha, adultery, the other side of face, but better translation, the other side of Aisha. This was the guy who you were talking to, Akhi. No blame on you, Akhi. No blame on you. But I mean, these kind of people who come here and say, want to teach you a lesson. And then because I say, Haq Ali bin Abi Talib, I want to say, well, we don't believe you. Aslan did Ali bin Abi Talib has anything to do with you. And then that they use then against me, say, oh, look, he's a grown man. He mocks. Oh, I'm a diva now. I'm insulted now. I don't want. But storming the park with 30 people, But that's all right. That's all right. Anyway, there's a few more points. We don't want to make it too long. There's a few more points. So this Hassan Qadri says he's not interested about. Oh yeah, he also said to you in phone calls that he doesn't even care about that his Rafida org associates, even if he's not part of the team anymore. He doesn't even care, and he doesn't know about, because they started. It's not from these Bayat Ghadir. They started last year based on this one single photo. There's a reason why I was never seen with Anjem Chaudhry except on the one photo. Why? If you've been seen with someone just one time accidentally, he's in your close proximity because he jumped into your demonstration. Obviously, the reason why I've never been seen before after the picture is because you don't know this person. Who spread this lie in the first place? These Rafida org liars. What does this person say to you on the phone? If he was genuine, and he want dialogue and peace, and he said to you, there should be peace with us. We agree all of this. How can then somebody say, I don't even care about that? I haven't even watched it. Didn't he say to you, you told me that, he said, I haven't even watched the video. I'm talking about the video with me and Muhammad Hijab, where I clarified that I have nothing to do with this Khariji terrorist. Nothing to do with it. I explained on my Twitter, by the way. I'm not here to mock Anjem Chowdhury, but just from a theological point of view, that he's a Khariji terrorist, there's no doubt for me. But on top of it, he's a Jahil. He's a Jahil, he's a Qadi who doesn't know Arabic. I watched a video, an Egyptian Coptic Christian refuted him, asked him some questions in Arabic, he couldn't answer. So I don't associate myself with clowns, let alone Khariji clowns. So this person, Hassan Qadri, back to him, the big one who came here last week, says to you that he's not interested in or what we have clarified about the lie. So basically he's not interested, his people lied about me. And I'm a potential someone, I'm your friend, we talk about you, with you, or you talk to him. We might have debates, discussions, you said why not? So how can you say, I don't care, I haven't even watched it, if it's even true that he hasn't watched it. But if he didn't watch it, that to me it doesn't show fairness. It doesn't show fairness. Then he said, what I mentioned earlier, Semrani hasn't caused any harm to our Aqidah. Again, then I guess Sheikh Zakaria has caused more harm to Tashayyu, Rafidism and the Khurafat than Hassan Semrani. That's for the viewers to decide. That's for the viewers to decide. Then, yeah, teach them a lesson. We mentioned that he talked about he said, yeah, I'm not famous, we talked about this. What the hell? Yeah, one last thing. He called me vile. He said a vile person. Then he said, remember guys, here's the funny thing, brother Hani, may Allah bless him, he reminded me of that. He said this guy says, oh now Hassan Semrani he's praising himself. As I said, I'm not praising myself. If somebody says, no, I don't want to debate you, and goes after, storms the park for one time, and then I go after them, and then they say no, so I have to bring out my credentials. I'm not praising myself. But guess what he then said? Yeah, I got this from a brother. He said this guy then wrote on his own Facebook, or wherever it was, on one of his own platforms, a king only faces a king, not a peasant. Another peasant. And he refers to himself again. So he's the king, and we are peasants. We are peasants. Who is he? Who is he? Who is this Hassan Qadri? And I remember you told me when you asked him, who are you? He said, do you think I never debated behind the camera? You, mashallah, then you told me you answered correctly. He said, I mean, publicly, who are you?
Look, I think
who did you debate?
I think the most important thing is for us to, obviously we don't make it too long, is to send a clear message to any Shi'i who came here that day, and any Shi'i in particular, that...
No, especially the flag bearers.
Especially the flag
Shia
bearers.
Roadrunner,
yeah.
this one.
They came down here last week, they went on a victory parade. Ha, hoo, Allah, salawat, and all these kind of, childish slogans. And
no, salawat is not childish.
No, I'm saying...
You mean the way...
I'm saying the way they portray themselves, as if, they came and smashed the Bakris and the Sunnis, and no one said anything to them. We want to send a message to them, that look, what you think happened didn't really happen. You didn't smash no one. This is not a game. This is not a boxing match. Yeah, this is Speaker's Corner. Anyone can come here, say what they like, within the context, and then go home, whatever. If you came down here with the intention to debate, good. But don't come here, throw a few cheap shots at brothers who maybe don't specialize in the field, and then go on the victory parade and say that we smashed the Sunnis. No, that's not the case. Let's not be kids. Let's not be childish, yeah?
What about the principle? Let's talk about the principle that what they were. I think this Shia Roadrunner and then the Hassan Qadri guy. Some people are laughing.
Okay, so they made a mockery out of
the principle.
Of the principle. We have a principle that we don't debate Ahl Bidah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
they said we should rename it. Oh yeah, he said they should rename it. We do not debate any Shia who's learned. Now, in Arabic we say the sihr has come back on the sahir.
Now they flip on them.
Yeah.
So we can flip the same thing on them.
So let's talk just quickly on this principle. The principle, and I heard this brother Shamsi say, the principle is correct. I studied this as well. That's a basic classical principle, and it's very logical. It is a Aam principle. Aam means general. It's a general principle that not every layman goes and debates any religious sect. You can't. Or would you say you can now, let's say you're Muslim, you go to university, then some super evangelist nutter comes with 10 books, who studied 10 years and say, let's debate. I'm going to show you now 10 manuscripts in the Quran. Would you, is this, it is not befitting then to put yourself in a situation and say, yes, fi sabilillah, I will now refute you.
Can we even regard people who insult Aisha radiallahu anha, who believe the Sahaba were kuffar, who believe in distortion of the Quran and tahrif, do we regard these people as being from Ahl Bid'ah or more than that?
Anybody who invokes these imams directly as they preach in their religion, including in sujood, they invoke Fatima, and they have shirkiyat to that level. Shirkiyat that if I would stand here, some would faint. That's why it was funny when you told me, you said, oh yes, hope for you, you will one day become Shia. I said to you, I would rather become a Hindu. Rather become a Hindu. At least Hindu is a complete batil, and then you go live your life, do all the haram or whatever. Why would I become, a'udhu billah, part of a religion, doing worst form of kufr, shirk, and khurafat in the name of the blessed Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. By the way, it's allowed to say alayhi salam alayhi salam for Ahlul Bayt, and maybe in the future in the lesson I will explain this as well. Radiyallahu anhum wa alayhum salam. Classical Sunni scholars use that, there's no problem for that. But the thing is about the principle. The principle is generally correct. You would say to your son, if you have a 20 years old son, you would say, hey, you can't debate everybody. So what, but what did they claim? They claimed, for example, you told me that this Hassan Qadri said, yeah, you bullied Shias in this park. Akhi, I'm never in this park. But I was here one time, Arba'in. And I saw Muhammad Hijab. Since when does Muhammad Hijab, is he known for bullying people? I was a witness, they were Shia youth. Yes, they were not knowledgeable, but we discussed it. But we discussed with them.
No, to be fair, what he meant, obviously he explained, he meant bullying in the sense that obviously
we are more knowledgeable.
That he was more knowledgeable, and the Shias they were talking to,
with all due respect,
wasn't knowledgeable.
But with all due respect, that's not the definition of bullying, Akhi. You know what the problem is? The problem here is not Muhammad Hijab or even you or anybody who at Arba'in stands here and says to the Shia, so you do Arba'in? What is Arba'in? I know, yeah. What is Arba'in? Oh, it's 40 days after Imam Hussein Shahada. Again, we roam the streets, and again, self-flagellation and hitting and wailing, and again, mashallah, you do that for the Prophet ﷺ as well, isn't it? No. I know these questions. He might be able to answer in one way or another, although it's definitely a weak way. But anyway, but whose fault is it that you and Muhammad Hijab are always here and discuss with them, with a young Shia, and they don't turn up? Is it fair to describe that as bullying? The point is, if they were frequently here, then they, instead of these youngsters at Arba'in or whoever he thinks that Muhammad Hijab bullied them, he could have been here instead. Or others who have always time if he hasn't got time. So it's not, do you understand? It's not Muhammad Hijab's fault or your fault. It's the fault of their community. Funny enough, they call it now the Rafidi corner. I mean, yes, sir. I mean, you have seen it. They call it the Rafidi corner. Anyone here? They call it the Rafidi corner. So if it's their corner, ahlan wa sahlan. As I said, I live peaceful, alhamdulillah. I lived in 2 European countries. I have issues with nobody. Most of my family are Shia. I do not believe in any violence, any nonsense, Shia killing. I don't even believe that all Shias are kuffar. I have a ilmi, academical definition. I don't say every Shia, everybody who calls it Shia. I defend Shias often, and you're my witness. If Sunnis say some jahil statements, hey, Shias after prayer, they do this and say, Jibreel made a mistake. Taqillah, it's good, be quiet. Don't talk nonsense. Don't worry, they're drowned in shirkiyat and khurafat. You don't need to make up some nonsense, which by the way is not complete nonsense anyway. It is a qawl of Ibn Taymiyyah that was an older Shia sect that used to do this, not the 12er. And other things that people make mistakes, I even defend them. But yes, me, you, and I believe every Muslim, Ahl Sunnah wa Jama'ah, who is firm in his Aqidah, who have studied, theologically opposes their theology. We call a spade, and that's it. That's it. And if they say, one thing we forgot to mention, anti-Majus, first they claim, remember they lied last year, of 2016. they said, oh, he's the owner of Anti-Majus. I said to them, Wallahi, if I'm the owner of Anti-Majus, Alhamdulillah. I'm not the owner of Anti-Majus. I know the owner, yes. And I've contributed, I made some translation for them, it's not mine. Do we agree with everything on this channel, Akhi? No. We don't agree with everything. So it can't be indiscriminately be referred back to me as if it's mine. So anyway, the principle is generally correct. Huh? Shamsi, as I said, this brother, I don't even know him. But I saw one video of Shamsi with this roadrunner, Shia roadrunner. I saw with the Shia roadrunner of Shamsi. Shamsi did not debate him. Shamsi stood to his principles. As far as I know, correct me if I'm wrong. He talked, then the Shia wanted to debate, and then Shamsi said, I do not debate. I do not debate. That has nothing to do with being coward to me. To me, it has to do with, hey, I do my da'wah, I tell you what from my point of view, Shiism is batil, khurafa and zandaqa, and then I say ma'asalam. Now you can stand here, roadrunner, and then you can talk. Say whatever you want. So this is one type, the Shamsi brother type. Me and your type, we say, Mashi. Tayyib, that's correct, the principle is correct. But we have incidents in the history of Islam, and many scholars, and I do not count, I don't call myself a scholar, but we have people who are mutakhassis, who are specialized in certain fields. They might even know more about a sect than a hafiz, muhaddith, right? Scholar. Because they, I was 2003 in Qom. I was sitting next to Khamenei. Not that means that makes one knowledgeable. I mean, I went into Khamenei groups, WTF, into the Shirazi type. I know them. So we believe, and I include you into this, that yes, we would debate them, and you did debate them. Whatever they say about you, you did debate them. And they might say, yeah, we don't say that last Sunday nobody was ready, but Fulan didn't want to, Fulan didn't want to. Whatever the case, you were ready to debate Zakaria, Muhammad Hijab, and then when this brother said, yeah, what about now, what about next week? Then he said to you, Akhi, no, first time, trashy place. Then he said to you, trashy place, I'm not going to come here again, I'm out of the country anyway. Well, I'm fair. If you ask me, is this an ideal place for Hiwar? Of course it's not. It's not. However, even he saw it as a darura. Sah wala la? Even he saw it as a darura to come. So if you could come one time, why not come and it's unattended? And then they said, what shall we do? Do you guys, one of them said, do you guys advertise when you come? You guys storm with 30 people. If you come with 30 people, if you start a carnival, yeah, then you have to tell at least the people, hey, we're going to start a carnival, come with 30 people, yeah, make sure you're there. Isn't it? So it was upon them to advertise and tell us, him and anybody, we would have come. As I said, I worked from early morning till now, traffic from all of Islam until here, and we arrived here just for Salah. I did it fi sabilillah, and I would have done it last week. So these things, and alhamdulillah, one last word, I saw comments. People are not dumb, including their own people, even their own people. That's why, you know what I've realized, Akhi? Not many of their own people comment. Because you know why? It's psychology. They know this is, you can't defend it. Too many tanaqudat, it's too much contradiction. First, big mouth, coming here, storming 30 minutes, and then someone, they know exactly who I am. They know of which, I'm from the 12 Shia team. I had a live show for 4 years. They know me, and saying things like, who's a nobody, he's a nobody. The Sunni view, the Shia view, the non-Muslim view will say, hey, the guy's a nobody, but who's then Zakaria? Who's then Muhammad Hijab? Everybody, why are you? I'm going to teach you guys a lesson. Haq Ali bin Abi Talib will never forget. This is it, Akhi. Anyway, we don't care. I don't care for their names. For me, Akhi, including this Hassan Qadri, as I said, I went through his refutation of Dawah man. Akhi, Dawah man is not knowledgeable, Akhi, in this field. I don't know Dawah man. I met him once, but on this field of Tashayy, he has no clue. You know, some basic stuff he mentioned, and he refuted Dawah. This Hassan Qadri is a jahil, Akhi. It's a jahil. The only thing, and I know if they think that I don't know, I know their tactic. I studied them. I studied people bigger than himself who bring adalat al-sahaba. Adalat al-sahaba for them is a can of worms that they open and then do this, whoof, throw on you. And then you have to do this. He will say, hey, look here, why did adalat al-sahaba, why did the sahabi did this? Why this? Why did your ulama make tawthiq of all your sahaba? Why are they udul by definition? Blah, 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 blah. And then you have to shubha. You have to clean yourself from these shubhat. Huh? So, yeah, the hujum is on you. Whereas what we want from them is to say, Ta'alu, itini dalil, bring me your dalil for this claim that me and you have to follow 12 infallible imams that are superior than mighty, idol-breaking Ibrahim alayhi salam. That Imam number 10 and 8, Imam number 12 who became Imam Zaman when he was between 5 and 7, like the Dalai Lama. If you've seen the Buddhist, the leader when he became the Imam Zaman of the Buddhists, he was like a little boy. The Rafida have 3 Imams at least who were little 5, 6, 7 years old. Now, is this a khalal? It is a khalal. If these people are superior than the mighty Anbiya and they believe that they're superior, and we have many more questions.
Is there any questions?
That we want to discuss these things. We want to ask the questions. We want to debate.
You know, my brother, I've got a lot of people on my channel, okay, who's very much so interested in Islam, okay, but they may not specifically know the difference between Sunnis and Shias. Could you give us the biggest distinction between Sunni and Shia? Where is the the parting of ways between Sunni Islam and Shia Islam?
Well, the biggest misconception is in Western eyes that Shiism is like Catholicism, and well, it is. Shiism is like Catholicism actually, but like the numbers are divided between Catholics and Protestants. That's not correct. People, Ahl Sunnah Jama'ah, despite differences here and there, but umuman as a aam, that they're Sunnis and they are the old 4 schools. They are the vast majority, over 90% of the ummah. The small 10% of the Shias who within themselves have many, not just sects like we have, like fiqh and stuff like that. They have like completely other, like Ismailis are considered another religion according to the 12ers and vice versa. Their religion is based on the ghulu, exaggeration of the family of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's it. The cousin of the Prophet has become the center of the religion. Their creed says that the most superior creation is Muhammad. I don't lie about Shias, I used to be Shia. When you look in Shia literature, yes, the creed, it's written that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam afdalul khalq sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Muhammad is the best of all creation. And this statement, is it true in Sunni societies? Wallahi al-azim it is. Sunni in Muslim life, it is Allah the creator, worship of the smallest form is only for Allah. Never ever is Prophet Muhammad in any shape or form sallallahu alaihi wasallam worship. Never. However, as a role model, for a human in this life, you hear constantly Rasulullah, Rasulullah, the messenger of Allah, the messenger of Allah, messenger of Allah. That is why everything revolves around him. Whereas in their religion, everything mainly revolves about Ali bin Abi Talib, the cousin of the Prophet ﷺ. That is why the greatest Eid. Have you heard of the Muslims' Eid? What Eid do Muslims have? Eid of the Muslims. Eidul Muslims. I'm asking about Muslims.
Where are we going to go?
Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha.
Those are Eid.
Eid Fitr Adha. What is Eid al-Fitr about? After worship of 30 days, fasting is worship. After fasting, worship of 30 days, we have an Eid. Eid comes from Aada, it comes from Aada from coming back, because it comes back every year. We have an Eid. We eat and we celebrate. So it's all for the Creator. Eid al-Adha is for the Creator again. In remembrance of Ibrahim alayhi salam, Abraham who sacrificed the sheep. You know what the biggest Eid in their religion is? Eid Vilayat, Eid Ghadir. Eid Vilayat. The day, it's a lie. It's a lie, Buhtan. And by the way, they called the group after this lie. And the incident is true itself, but they made it out of proportion. Their biggest Eid is Ghadir, Eid Ghadir. They call it Eidullah al-Akbar. The greatest Eid in Isaac. So what is the greatest Eid in the eyes of Allah according to the Shia religion, the day when the cousin of the Prophet became the leader. You understand? The greatest Eid in Shiism is not Fitr, Eid al-Fitr. It's not Eid al-Adha. It's not some made-up Eid the day when the Prophet was declared the Prophet or anything with the Prophet.
So basically, we're not the same religion, basically. Although we have similarities, yeah?
We have similarities, but we have similarities. And most Shia laymen do not know much differences. But in essence, modern day 12ism, we have to be specific. I used to be a 12er Shia, the majority of Shias. Modern day 12ism has so much deviated from Islam in all its forms, from the way they worship, from their Eid, from the way they invoke. It's so much deviated that there is definitely argument. There is room to argue that this is not even Islam. This is some form of paganism in the name of the Prophet's progeny.
So where I really want to go with this is that it's the major issue, okay? In terms of Aqidah.
Well, the major issue is what everybody, what you can read up online. It is claimed the major issue is only the difference between successorship. That's not true. It's not only successorship. Because you could believe, for example, that Ali was the right successor after the Prophet. You have some Shiism in yourself, some Shia beliefs, but you still, let's say, reject all the modern day heresies that are hallmarks of Shiism, which includes invoking saints, the Imams directly, invoking them directly, praying to them exactly as Catholics do. Exactly the same thing, and exactly the same excuses as Catholics do. You will never see a Catholic who will say, I'm a pagan, I'm an idol worshipper. He will have his Mary picture there. He will say, Sweet Mary, ask her directly for help. And then when you hold them there and say, isn't that paganism? No, that's what the Protestant dudes say. That's not. We are doing tawassul. We are doing intercession. They do the same with the Prophet's family. All the bid'ah, all the dalalat, all the misguidance that the Prophet cursed, literally. The Prophet ﷺ, let me tell you something very beautiful. It's a Sahih hadith. The Prophet was informed about the Habasha, about the Ethiopians, when some Sahaba moved to there, and what some Sahaba have seen there. They told the Prophet they have seen images, you know, because they're saint worshippers. And I'm not saying it to insult anybody, but to us, to Islamic theology, this is saint worship. Images of Saint X, Y, Z, especially in the Orthodox Church and the Catholic Church. So when the Prophet saw this, he said, these people who have started this and doing this, basically, are the most cursed of all creation. People who have exaggerated with their saints, that eventually these saints have turned into demigods, even if they don't call them God. Practically, they are treated as God, even if they don't know. None of them will call them God. No Catholic will say Mary's God. Well, they call her the mother of God, but they will invoke her directly, pray to her directly, hang up her picture, seeking blessings, all these things, and all these things you will only find in Shiism. I go as far as to say I haven't seen any Islamic sect where you see so much similarity in pagan rituals that resemble the rituals of the Hindus and some Buddhists and the Catholics and the saint worship than the 12 Shia. And I advise you and the viewers to check. There's a very beautiful video by the BBC where the reporter, it's very beautiful, type in BBC Imam Rida Shrine Iran, something like that. The reporter's Englishman, he is in Mashhad, Iran, at the shrine of Imam Rida, and he's astonished. He said, I see people here praying to the Imams, invoking them directly. So even this non-Muslim understood clearly, these people here are worshipping the Imams. They are whatever they will call it. They can call it whatever they want. Tawassul. This is what it is to us. This is what it is to us. So for us, it's a matter of belief and disbelief and complete heresies, which I believe does this necessitate hatred and violence. They call it non-violent extremism. No, not at all. This is what I call it is being blunt. You can hold your beliefs that are maybe very strict or very straightforward. You are very, let's say somebody is a very passionate Christian. He says, yeah, if you die without this belief, you go to hell. I never got offended. Funny thing is, always people who are atheists, they get offended when you say hell and stuff. If you don't believe it, you shouldn't get offended in the first place. I have no problem with this. She says to me, yeah, you are completely wrong. Everything you say is wrong. You will go to hell. It's all right. I do what I believe is right. I'm a Muslim and I do da'wah mostly in the background. And I believe that the fitrah, the natural instinct and disposition of a human being, even if they might not agree with me now, even right now when they're listening this video, deep inside themselves they know I'm speaking the truth. I have been to Mashhad, I have been to these shrines, I have been to Tehran, Shah Abdul Azim. I have seen what they do there. Not just what the laymen do and these excuses, oh, it's only the laymen, the scholars don't do this. I've read the books of the scholars. All the exaggeration they have done with the family of the Prophet ﷺ, that it turned them into demigods. I've seen this, and I believe that anybody, especially someone who's familiar with Catholicism, will see a clear resemblance that traditional, I repeat, traditional Orthodox Sunnis. And no, that doesn't mean necessarily Wahhabism, no. The vast majority of Sunni Muslims, you won't find these pagan elements, this exaggerated saint worship in their societies, in their mosques. You won't. So that's it.
Let me ask another question as well. I've got a few questions, to be honest with you, but let me ask a couple questions. First question I need to ask is, how can you, as a Sunni, reconcile your differences with the Shia community? How can they come together? Of course, there's a lot going on in the UK right now, in the world right now. But how can, the Sunni and Shias come together and be much more stronger as a unit together? Would you suggest that having more discussions on this topic?
Theologically, the differences are too big to have a theological unity. Anybody who is, even from their side, and I have to be fair, there are rational people who, well, at least when it comes to this, who know that the theological differences are too big. And so they argue, and we argue as well, for coexistence. We live, they live. I could now talk about extremist things that they do, like cursing the Prophet's wives on the street, marches, doing that. Let me ask you one thing. If I would walk in Qom, the Vatican of the Shias, and I would, well, the thing is, most Shia saints are great and honorable people to us. We believe that their names have been misused. We believe that Imam Ali and Imam Hassan and Hussein, alayhi salam, all these great Imams, that they're innocent of the Shias, just like Jesus is innocent of this Jesus worshipper. However, there are some Shia saints that we don't accept in our school. So imagine me going to the Vatican of the Shias and curse the Shia. What will happen to me? I'll be upside down, it will hang. No advocating that should be done well to me or to anybody else, but I'm just saying that we have to have our limits. And most Shias, I'm happy, and most Sunnis, they are peaceful and they live which are peaceful. And there is no contradiction. There's nothing wrong with it. And I repeat, most of my family are Shias. I know Shia people. I don't hate no Shia people. I don't hate them. I am opposed theologically to this sect or religion, if you might call it. Just like I'm opposed to, for me, if I be very blunt, calling Jesus God and Mary Mother God, it's vile. It's wrong, it's paganism. But I wouldn't rub it under the nose of my neighbor every day. We human beings, we have to be sensitive. I can't go to my neighbor who's passionate Christian every day and say, you know what, you're a pagan. No, I don't advocate this. For everything there's a time. And if there would be a time where somebody asked me, be honest, theologically, what do you think about this? Then I would say, calling a spade is not extremism. It is being honest. It's better to espouse and announce these beliefs so that people know, okay, all right, that's your standpoint.
There's another point you actually raised earlier on in the conversation about the 12 and so forth, and I've personally read in the Hadiths, especially in the Sahih Muslim, about the Prophet ﷺ actually prophesizing about 12.
No, it's not a prophecy. It's not. You have it. Well, I studied this, brother, and you can go to our website 12shia.net that deals with Shia misuse of Sunni literature. We have answered all of these. I give you a quick answer. If you would have, in the first place, read it properly, you would know that this is not a prophecy as in that it declares that specific 12, who are exactly their 12 imams, will one day rule. It says in the English translation that Islam will stay aziz, honorable, strong, when these 12 rulers rule. So if you would have listened now very sharply, you would have understood, or if you were well versed in Shiism, you would have known that, well, from the 12 imams, 2 only ruled. The others didn't rule in the first place, so this hadith can't be in reference to them. You can't be an obsessed, not you, I mean, generally speaking, normally people who misuse this hadith are very sectarian. Like, you know, people who play with number games. By the way, we have a hadith in Sahih Muslim as well, or Bukhari, about 12 munafiqeen, 12 hypocrites. Now, an enemy of Ahl Bayt could come maybe and say, oh, this 12 hypocrites is their 12 imams. These number games are childish. This is not academical. The Prophet said in the hadith that Islam will stay strong. And 12 rulers, umara, from Quraysh, you know, Quraysh is the tribe of all of Mecca. It's very it's a very general statement. The Prophet ﷺ didn't say, me and here my cousin and his descendants will rule, and if you don't follow them, you're going to go to hell. He didn't say anything about that. And the funny thing is, I tell you, the funniest part is that early Shias never used that hadith. You know why? Because their sect developed. It developed into a 12er sect. That's what you have to understand. 12er Shiism developed. It took time. It took time till, how long did the 12 imams live? 2.5 centuries. Do you know how many sub-sects were created? Because every time Imam died, somebody claimed to be the next Imam, then somebody claimed, you don't know this. So this hadith, most Shia polemicists, they are very, I mean, what shall I say? They're gullible. They don't know that this doesn't refer to their Imams, because it doesn't even, it speaks about 12 Umara, or sometimes in some wordings, Khulafa, i.e. people who rule, who have actually ruled. These people rule and Islam is strong. But the Imams never ruled except two. And there's more to it. Yeah, just for you to know, somebody said, there's more to it. But I will keep it short, and we have articles about this.
Last one. I think maybe my last one. Is everybody okay? I'm trying to educate my own community right now. So, you know, a lot of the times when we're here, they actually bring up the conversation about the Prophet said, I leave you behind 2 weighty things. You know, there's one hadith, one hadith saying about the Quran and Ahlul Bayt, the Quran and the Sunnah. Could you give us a clarification on that, please?
Yes, I can give a clarification. Again, I have to first refer to our website, because this is a lecture in itself. Well, I will try to keep it short. First of all, even the Shias who champion the hadith of Quran Ahl Bayt, you have to understand, of course, what they mean is Ahl Bayt is the Sunnah, because no Shia rejects following the Sunnah. He just wants to, what is the, we say hadaf in Arabic, how do you say in English? What is the intention? What is the intention? Why do they want to say? Because they want to bring their selected Ahlul Bayt and say our selective Ahlul Bayt is what the Prophet here means with Ahlul Bayt. Because you have to understand, they exclude many Ahlul Bayt that they do not consider as Ahlul Bayt. Ahlul Bayt were not even these 12 Imams, my dear friend. Ahlul Bayt, which means the household of the Prophet, there were many people who were related to him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who were considered his Ahlul Bayt. There were many of these Imams who had sons who also claimed what? Imamat. They claimed leadership. So this hadith, it's a whole lecture for itself. But we say, hadith of Quran and Ahlul Bayt, the most authentic version is in Sahih Muslim. If the ziyada, some of them argue there's an interpolation, ziyada, idraj, ziyada, they use some terms that they don't even understand themselves. The hadith is 100% sahih. As-sahhul hadith, the most authentic hadith in Sahih Muslim, where the Prophet ﷺ said, Inni tariku fikum al-thaqalayn, kitab Allah. And then he said, I leave behind you 2 weighty things. And then he says, وأذكركم الله في أهل بيتي وأذكركم الله في أهل بيتي وأذكركم الله في أهل بيتي. And I remind you by Allah with regards to my family. This is exactly Sunni belief. Sunni belief is that the Prophet left the Quran. The Quran obviously is filled with evidences that you have to follow the Sunnah. You don't need necessarily, but besides we have hadith. عليكم بسنة سنة خلفاء الراشدين من بعدي. Upon you is to follow my sunnah and the sunnah of my khulafa al-rashidin. We have other hadith, but even if we don't have hadith, the Quran itself in many verses, Atiyu Allah wa Atiyu Rasul, follow Allah and follow His Messenger. So this Sunni position is unfortunately often, and I say this as ex-Shia, distorted by Shia propagandists. Because they will bring out of the plethora of narrations weaker narrations, or actual weak narrations. Say, oh, the Prophet said, I live behind Quran, Ahl Bayt. If you hold on both of them, we don't believe in this version. The most authentic version is in Sahih Muslim, where the Prophet ﷺ said, I leave behind you Quran, وَأُذَكِّرُكُمُ اللَّهَ فِي أَهْلِ بَيْتِي وَأُذَكِّرُكُمُ اللَّهَ فِي أَهْلِ بَيْتِي وَأُذَكِّرُكُمُ اللَّهَ فِي أَهْلِ بَيْتِي. I remind you, Mama Ahl Bayt. And Sunnis believe that's what it is. We have to respect and love Ahl Bayt. There's no contradiction if somebody is Shia or anybody says, yeah, but Ahl Bayt have been harmed, have been oppressed by some rulers. We know that, we don't deny this. Many of the Prophet's companions were also, that's what Shias don't like to talk about it, by the way. It's very, if you're interested in history, by the way, Shias have this Madhulumiyya mentality. Madhulumiyya means this oppression mentality. They always emphasize, oh, the Ahl Bayt were oppressed and that the Shias were a minority. First of all, that the Ahl Bayt, some of them were oppressed. This is what we have narrated. We know this. They were oppressed. They were oppressive rulers. Of course, not the Khulafa al-Rashidin, not Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, and Ali, which the Shia hate the most. There were some of the Khulafa from Bani Umayyah, maybe from Bani Abbas, but these very Khulafa, by these very caliphs, have oppressed companions of the Prophet, students of the companions of the Prophet. Abdullah bin Umar, the son of Umar ibn al-Khattab, was stabbed to death in Hajj by the authorities. So this Madhulumiyya game, it's only them, and that's why when I approached you, when I said, please don't interrupt, when I approached you, and I said to you that my friends, you made a video kind of in their praise because of the Shafi'is or whatever, and they're the underdogs. Study history. Read what happened to my country. I'm a Persian Iranian Sunni. 500 years ago, 1 million Sunnis. Some historians say 1 million, some say 500,000. Numbers are not important because it was a genocide. It was a genocide, this is recorded. It's 500 years ago. Not all Sunnis, alhamdulillah, we are still a large minority of 20% in Iran, although the Iranian government, like all oppressive governments, puts our number down between 9 and 10%. But these things happen to Sunnis as well. Large oppressions by them. And if somebody asks me about, yeah, but, well, there were Shias in history who were oppressed by some authorities. Well, I say just one thing. Read about how anti-Sunni, orthodox 12 Shia creed is, i.e. Bara'a, this association from those who we love the most, which includes cursing and rituals, and I've seen with my own eyes what they do, walking around banners, cursing the Prophet's wife, cursing the Prophet's friend, writing in Iran still, although the Iranian government, because of political correctness, they have their own policies, not because of creedal issues, they believe in it, but they're smart, many things they don't do in practice. Like, for example, the most vast majority of Shia clerics in Qom are pro-tatbir, pro-self-harming with knives and blades. Most, and this is a fact, this academically, nobody can refute me on this. Most of the major grand scholars in Qom. But the official Iranian policy is what? It's not allowed in the streets. Because of Khamenei, the revolutionary leader who is extremely disputed, and politically you have seen the last few days what happened in Iran. So all I can say is people need to study, need to see both sides, and yes, all I can say from I'm convinced of what I do, and I invite people, if they want to learn more from our side and how we respond to this, they should visit www.12shia.net. It is our website. We believe it is academic. It refutes the most common arguments, including those that you have asked right now, and maybe many of your friends have asked, that I can't possibly now stand here probably more than an hour answer.
Last one.
No.
Your last one was 2-1.
Okay, privately last one, yeah? Can we go private last one?
It's alright, it's alright.
Private last one.
Private last
you got to turn off the cameras. My private last one is this. I've realized that in a lot of the hadith collections, there is hardly any hadiths related from Ali.
That's not true. I translated an article in Arabic.
Yeah.
You can find it off YouPunk. If you want, you give me an email, I can send you this.
Yeah,
so what was the, I heard this before, you sound almost like a Shia. So there's hardly hadith narrated by Ali, is that correct? Is this what you have been told?
That's what I've been told.
Shall I give you the answer?
Yes, please.
I translated, Alhamdulillah, and is a ni'mah of Allah, as the first person on this globe from Arabic into English, a very unique article which proves that Sunnis have effectively, factually narrated more authentic hadith from Ahlul Bayt with connected chains in their books than Shias. Now to the question, do you know that in the Musnad of Imam Ahmad, which is over 16,000 hadith, Ali narrates more than Uthman and Abu Bakr put together? Do you know that the four Khulafa in general, and this is where you need a beginner's lesson in hadith science. The Khulafa, the caliphs, early caliphs, were not known as muhaddithin. I don't use the term muhaddithin as in a modern sense. The term as in they were not hadith scholars, as in they were not known to narrate a lot of hadith. That is why our main narrators are who? Abu Huraira, the wife of the Prophet Aisha, Ibn Abbas, son of the uncle of the Prophet. So Ibn Abbas is from Ahlul Bayt, narrated more than Umar. Now I could turn this on you and say, well, do you know that Umar didn't narrate a lot? Problem is, Shias only see, or the propaganda that is spread, they only see one side. Sorry, I need to take this phone.